Welcome to the Anxiety Cure. Some people just love designer labels. Labels make them happy. Well, as it turns out, designing a label for your anxiety can make you happy. Let me explain a bit. According to researcher Matthew Lieberman from UCLA, if you can put a label on how you feel, say the name of the emotion out loud, you can have your amygdala activation, otherwise known as your emotionality center. For example, you can say out loud, I'm feeling fearful. Or you can say out loud, I'm feeling stressed. Or you can say out loud, I'm feeling totally pissed off. Basically, when you label your emotions, you can calm yourself by 50%. This tool is so effective that hostage negotiators try to get the bad guys to label their emotions when they're in the midst of negotiating. Yes, hostage negotiators know that labeling emotions can help to calm down the bad guys by 50%. And that 50% reduction in emotionality sure comes in handy when you're negotiating for hostages. Well, the same thing applies to negotiating with yourself, with the bad guy emotions, which are keeping you hostage. If you can use a tool to calm yourself down by 50%, well, that's a damn good tool to use. So, why does labeling your emotions work so effectively? Neuroscientists believe there are two reasons for this. First, when you begin talking about your emotions, you leave the fight and flight animal instinct part of your brain and you rise on up to your neocortex. And that's where rational thinking and helpful insights can be found. Secondly, when you name the emotion, put a label on it, you separate the feeling from being you. You realize that the feeling is a separate thing from who you are. So you can own the feeling and then disown the feeling. All of this brings me to step 2 of this labeling tool. So next up, you have to label your thoughts around your feelings. You got to ask yourself, are these thoughts I'm thinking helpful or unhelpful? Are these helpful thoughts that are moving me forward in a positive direction, or are they unhelpful thoughts which are keeping me stuck or just moving me backwards? So put a label on thoughts, helpful thoughts or unhelpful thoughts. For example, when you repeat, why me, like a million times in a row, that's an unhelpful thought. And that unhelpful thought is just moving you backwards, getting you to be even more, negative about your life. I also have another way that I label my thoughts. I use the helpful and unhelpful, but I also use another label. I ask myself if the thought I'm thinking is an old thought or a new thought. I word it like this. I ask myself, are these old thoughts, thoughts that I've thought a million times before, and therefore they're unhelpful because they offer no new insights, no new solutions? Or is this a new thought? And thereby it could be helpful because it could offer a new insight or a new solution. If it's an old thought, then I tell myself, okay, I don't need to think this old thought again. I've already covered it. It's unhelpful. I've chewed the flavor out of it. And if it's a new thought, then I tell myself, okay, all right, this is a new thought. So I'm going to allow myself to think this new thought as long as I'm mining it for productive new insights and helpful new solutions. Basically, if you're going to spend time worrying, try to spend it on what I like to call productive worry or helpful worry, where you're moving forward to a solution. Your new motto from now on is 20% on the problem, 80% on the solution. Next up, there's a third step of labeling. After you've labeled your feelings and labeled your thoughts, I want you to label the actions that you want to take. Ask yourself if the actions you want to take are productive or unproductive. Label them productive actions or label them unproductive actions. Put a label on them. For example, if you're stressed out about a breakup or something else and you want to eat an entire box of chocolate chip cookies, label that as unproductive. Eating a box of cookies, unproductive. Then ask yourself, okay, well, what can I do instead? Call a friend, take a bubble bath, watch a movie, go cycling. Those are all productive actions. When you brainstorm up a list of productive actions that you can do, you also delay the temptation to do the unproductive thing. Here's a quick recap. If your anxiety is making you want to do something unproductive, label this temptation as unproductive. If you've slapped an unproductive label on the action, then decide that you're going to ignore the unproductive action. You're not going to do it. Next, you brainstorm a productive plan. Even write those words at the top of a piece of paper. Productive plan. I want you to do this so you start to view yourself as a productive person, which brings us to the next step. It's time to design another label, a positive label for your thoughts about yourself. For example, if you're really stressed out, you might be calling yourself some kind of bad names. Like you might call yourself an idiot or something like that. And I want you to stop and relabel yourself with positive words. Relabel yourself as productive, positive, strong, insightful, a student of life, somebody who's eager to learn. I want you to give yourself a label with a very positive identity because I'm a big believer that identity is destiny. If you view yourself as productive, then you will start to think and act more productively. If you view yourself as positive, you will start to think and act more positively. If you view yourself as strong, you will be more courageous, more bold. Now, I'm a big believer that you have to go through the first steps that I gave you, where you list your negative feelings and negative thoughts before you launch into writing all these pretty sparkly rainbow words about yourself. You first have to own your unpleasant feelings and your unpleasant thoughts. I want you to start with the negative feelings and thoughts because I want you to tap into your amygdala activation, as the neuroscientists call it, and thereby calm yourself by 50%. I mean, I want you to get that perk. That's a pretty great perk, a 50% calming action. Plus, I want you to start with these first gut honest steps with all those, the listing of the negative feelings and the negative thoughts, because I want you to be real with yourself. I don't want you burying your truth under a pile of pretty sparkly rainbow bullshit. Burying your honest feelings is never a good solution. You have to start off being honest with yourself. Even if the feelings you're feeling are negative, you have to own them. But here's the deal. After you own your negative feelings, you then have to disown your negative feelings. I want you to say to yourself, yes, I feel these feelings. I own them. But I also own my awesomeness. And I'm the type of person that can choose productive actions and take productive steps and find positive solutions to whatever challenge I'm going through right now.